This is Ralph Eckert for Billiard Network, and I'd like to invite you for today's tutorial number 7. Maybe you remember in tutorial number 6 we had to deal with those 10, 20 and 30 degree shots, and I'll show you a method of consistency which gives you consistency, the whole procedure, split it into 7 steps, and I showed you a way for the beginners part how to aim and everything. And this time we're going to deal with the same 10, 20 and 30 degree shots, and this time I want to give you some hints also, like always for beginners a little bit, also for intermediate and better players. I want to give you some hints about the direction of the cue. So if you have a situation like this, of course everybody is familiar how to get the cue ball down there, maybe more there or here or there. This is like 4 directions, but we're going to split it into 11 directions, and I want to give you some references which gives you more precision to get more exactly here, more exactly there, there and there. So to precise your position play a little bit. I hope you're going to enjoy that. Let's start with the first scene. So let's have a look at this ball again. You remember 10 degree shot. You see the straight angle here, and here you see this. Here you can see the 10 degree shot. And this is for beginners position to practice with, intermediate, and experts different distance to practice it. But now we are interested, especially in this tutorial, about the direction of the cue ball, and to give you some examples here. You can transfer those examples, of course, to other situations. So, did you recognize when you practiced the shot from last time, where does the cue ball travels or will roll naturally? Where does it roll naturally, actually? And when I have a class, I ask, where do you think? Does it hit the rail? And after the rail, if I shoot hard enough, where does it hit the rail over here, or will it come over there? I get different opinions here, a lot. And that's just because the people don't know exactly where the cue ball goes with natural roll. That means slightly higher, almost like a follow shot, not a force follow, not a hard one, but just let the cue ball roll over the table. And it's very powerful to know where the cue ball goes naturally. We know already the tangent line with the stop shot, but where does it rolls actually, right? So you have to find it out if you haven't done so far. You see, I cheat the pocket a little bit over here, so it comes a little bit more into this direction. And if I shoot, for example, a little bit more into the right side of the pocket, or in the center, you see it comes a little bit more here. So we have pretty much a wide range of this and that diamond, depending how we cheat the pocket. Very interesting, I think. And it's very powerful to know where the cue ball goes naturally. And we make examples on 10, 20, 30, and later on also on 40, 50, whatever degree shot. So you can transfer this knowledge. And let's give you another example here. Or to give, if you practice this, it's very important that you set up the same shot on the other side. All right, remember those 7 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you see, pretty much the same outcome. A little bit more here, so maybe I should repeat it to stay maybe inside this zone consistently on the left and the right. This is a nice opportunity to control and practice your stroke if you get the same outcome on the left and on the right. Why is it important? Because if you put accidentally, without noticing it, always some right side spin on it. Some players do it. Some players do it also on the left, right? If I put accidentally some right side spin on it, I will get a different result here and a total different result on the other side. So you control the consistency of your stroke by practicing those shots. both ways, on the left and the right, and notice where the cue ball goes actually. And then let's have a look on the next scene, or you can give always, what do you think, where does the cue ball goes? With the stop, with the backslide, and so on, and the draw shot in the next scene. So let's have a look now where, after we found out now where the cue ball goes naturally, where does it go actually if we put up, if we want to play a stop shot, right? Then we just put up maybe a ghost ball in front of it, you see? And from there you can always go by the tangent line, and then of course the middle of the ball parallel to it, right? Then you see where the cue ball goes with a stop shot, okay? So income angle, outcome angle, it would probably end up somewhere in this direction, but on 10 degrees, imagine, on 10 degrees it would be a pretty hard stop shot. You see, it got the direction, but you have to play incredibly hard to get the distance, right? But you get the direction. And of course, if you remember our previous tutorials, then you know, okay, 10 degrees, half ball, half table length, a little bit more here, right? So you can expect, if we don't play a stop shot, but backslide, you can expect, the cue ball goes in this direction. Won't reach the rail, of course, because not enough angle. And the replacement might end up over here. A follow stun would probably end up over here, okay? Natural goes over there. And in between we have those differentiations on follow shots, depending how hard. But you see, we don't have enough angle to show those examples, so we're going to postpone those examples on 20 degrees. But right now, to finish this 10-degree topic here, the question is, where does the draw shot go? Remember, when we had this in another tutorial there, where does the draw shot go on 10 degrees? So in a group, I always ask, what do you think? Will it drop maybe, scratch, hit the rail here, or over there? Or where does the draw shot go? Let's have a look. So remember, 7 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you see, it's pretty good if you get it directly here to the short rail, approximately that diamond. And from the stop shot to the draw shot, of course, the differentiation in between is about the quality of the draw shot. We had that in a previous tutorial. But let's continue now. And we have to say something about spin and everything now in the next. We go on 20 degrees on that shot for more examples. This is our 20-degree shot. You remember, if you put up the straight line over here and this line from the cue ball, you get a 20-degree angle. And it's just an example. And here, first question is, where does the cue ball goes naturally now? I always ask in classes, where do you think? Where does it hit the rail over there? But if I shoot hard enough, where does it hit the rail over here? And I get opinions. They see it here, some see it there, some even see it over there. So it's like, again, a little bit like darkness. They're shooting into darkness. That's why a lot of people don't like to let the cue ball roll naturally, right? Because they don't know exactly where it goes. And just a few examples with all the degrees we have and the different situations we're going through would give you a lot of power, because then you wouldn't need to avoid it all the time, because sometimes the natural pass is a very useful one, and it makes the shot so easy, and it let it look everything easy, right? So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We stay down, and then we see, it drops by almost a little bit more than a diamond here on this side. And then, remember, you repeat the same thing on the other side and see if you are consistent, if you get the same result on the left and the right. Very important. But we continue with another part, of course. If you set up, for example, if you put a ghost ball in front again, right, then you see tangent line, which is 90 degrees to that. Parallel to it, okay, here's a tangent line, but parallel to it goes the object, the cue ball, and from there, income angle, outcome angle, you can expect it a little bit before that diamond, right? So, if you play a stop shot hard enough that it reaches rail. Yeah, you see, it was not a perfect stop shot, it was more like a, closer to a replacement, right? My fault, anyway. But that's what we're going to learn here. So, stop shot is over here. Replacement, I might scratch. Follow stun, probably over there. Backslide, probably over here, right? Remember our previous tutorials. So, this is only the zone we can make differentiations and get references and get a feeling for it along the tangent line. Natural, okay, follow stun. Natural roll is over here. And the draw shot, in this case I might scratch, pretty sure almost. So not much to do here with the draw shot, doesn't make much sense, right? Maybe I should show. Yeah, I barely can avoid the scratch by getting it on that rail, but what I try to say is, what's going to happen if we use spin now? We didn't have a talk so far about spin, side spin, on the left and the right. And so try to find out where can you get the cue ball with maximum left side speed. And you see, oh, I'm going to miss balls when I use left side spin. That's because we have to deal when we use spin with three main difficulties, which makes it hard. And that's what we're going to explain in the next scene also. And maybe end up here with a pocketed ball and the maximum spin we can reach here. But let's have a look at the next scene. So when you have a ball like this here, our example on 20 degrees, we end up over there. But when you need this maximum kind of spin, you see I missed the ball and I missed it on this side, right? That's because we have to deal with three difficulties. The first one is if I hit it here with a lot of left side spin, because there are two forces. Probably if you go into details, maybe a few more. But anyhow, there's a force in this direction, but there's also on the point of contact through the center of the ball a force in this direction. Vectors. It's about a parallelogram. That's easy to say, very complicated if you're a mathematician. But anyhow, that's the reason why the cue ball, if you hit it with a lot of side spin, is not going exactly straight. Its path is a little bit offset to the right if I use left side spin. If I use right side spin, offset to the left. So that's why if I'm aiming here, even if I'm aiming correct and everything, because it's offset, it don't hit there, it hits maybe a little bit more over there, and that's why I missed over there, okay? And that's very hard to deal with, but in a distance like that, with a little practice, you can deal with it. You can get it done. Way different case if you are here on this distance and no way, I mean really I won't use it on this distance with maximum spin. You will see you can't get the same result also because it loses some rotation on the way to it. And so, okay, it makes sense to practice it over there, doubtful over here, and don't think about it unless you have no other choice to do it from over there. And the reason is, yeah, those three difficulties. And one is the offset part here. And this is different to your cue, the flexibility of your cue. Even if it's a low deflection shaft, I got a low deflection shaft, right? But even if it's a low deflection shaft, it still has a little offset. And some cues have more and some cues have less. Okay, and you have to practice on your own to find out what kind of adjustment inside, when aiming, what kind of adjustment you have to do. It's a very, very minor one. So there's no system which helps you in this. You have to practice on. You have to work on this. But let's have a look on the other difficulties. And when we are through this, then you're supposed to be in the position, if you make the ball, it's fine, but if you miss, you should know why did you miss. And this helps you to get better, right? Because it makes a difference if you miss over there or over there, and why? By knowing it. Then you can make a better estimation and on the next try. So, of course, after I missed over there, I could aim a little bit more full because, yeah, I was sloppy probably, but in practice, when you start with things like that, then you have to recognize, it's a little bit more full. I have to aim not at the perfect spot, I have to aim a little bit more full. It's like aiming there in order to make that ball if you use that kind of spin, okay? Then, of course, it's also maximum spin or just the tip size. You can imagine the vector changes. If I use just the tip size, it goes a direction here and this direction, so the parallelogram resulting is a little bit different. So the offset is less if I use less spin. The offset is more if I use more spin. And yeah, we need a system here. And the other part is, by the way, rotational transfer. With left side spin here, it turns around this, and if I contact it here, then it transfers the rotation to this and swerves this ball a little bit to the right. So in this case, I have to aim even a little bit more thin. So because of the offset, I have to aim a little bit more full, and because of the rotational transfer, I have to aim a little bit more thin. So sometimes it equals really out. It depends on the speed and on the distance. If you have a long distance and high speed, the offset is the main part. If you have a short distance and a soft stroke, the rotational transfer is the main part. And the third thing is the curve, which is not a big factor in this distance, but I show you also in the next scene an example of the curve, which is hardly to see on an open situation, but I show you a different case. So we moved the angle here, and I moved the balls now frozen here to that spot and the cue ball frozen to that. That's just to show you or make visible for you the third difficulty after the offset from the cue ball, after the rotational transfer of the cue ball, we have the third difficulty of the curve of the cue ball, which doesn't occur actually if you hit the cue ball really horizontal, then we got the vectors and it just stays offset. But if you just use a minor angle like this, just by playing low, you have also this effect, you put also some of this into the cue ball, and this makes the cue ball go after it's offset from its natural path, it will come back again into it. And the higher this angle is, the more visible the curve will be. But if you got a complete off from the rail like this, it's hard to make this curve visible. It's hard to see for you, right? So that's why we put them here straight along this cushion. And you really can see when I use low left that the cue ball goes a little bit off from the rail and it curves around this corner, which is dangerous anyway, right? If I won't use any side spin around the corner, comes back in to make the ball. So let's use some low left and watch the little offset and curving back in. Whew. You see the rotational transfer here? It was big, but probably big because I hit some dirty point here. So let's just repeat that. You see, it came around this a little bit early in here, and then I hit this ball even here, which would normally be a miss, but because also of the rotational transfer, it was good enough to make the ball. Okay, so you saw even two effects here, the curve and the rotational transfer. And to give you another example of the rotational transfer, which is more common on closer distances and soft strokes, here I line it up. It's like a straight, or let's make it closer to the rail. It's like a straight and shot into the pocket. I also aim it straight. Center, okay. And now I just go to the left, right? But parallel to the left. And then you see the rotational transfer is enough to make this ball missing on the right side, because I give with left side spin, I force the object ball to go a little bit to the right. But this effect is only when it's very close the distance and when you play very soft. You can imagine if you play hard, strong, for example, and you have a bigger distance with left side spin, then the offset effect is way bigger, and then you have to aim, of course, more solid. But this is the difficulty you have to deal with. And that's why I would hardly shoot a ball from this distance with a lot of left or right side spin, because it's very, very hard, even for world champions, to make that shot. So that's why you shoot shots like that, no matter of the degree, more without any spin. You try to avoid that. And but of course, if you are closer, like in our first examples, then you can also practice and try to work with extreme side spin. The next part will be how to make references, how much side spin is good to use. I give you in the next scene some references for 1-2 tip sizes of side spin. Now we moved again, and now I show you a little bit a reference for spin. I mean, normally you use terms like, oh, put a little bit spin on it, or put a lot of side spin on it, maximum right side, or whatever. We need a reference here. And the reference can be, if you put up the cue ball here, anywhere straight into the diamond, and you place maybe a ball here on this diamond, and that diamond, and that diamond, and then maybe you can also continue with 4, 5, and 6 over there in this direction, but we don't need it here, because for our video it's good enough to do it on that side. And the reference point doesn't matter, the distance is not so important. Maybe a little bit more effect if you are closer, of course, less if you are further away, but not the main factor. The main factor is if you want to shoot straight into it without spin, of course it comes straight back. But if you shoot with right side spin, right, it goes a little bit to the right. And to give you a reference point, here I hit the 1 ball, and that's because I use 1 tip size of right side spin. For the 2 ball, 2 tip sizes of right side spin, and for the 3 tip sizes of right side spin. And of course, if you are smart and make the math, then you know if you have a 30 millimeter tip and the cue ball has a diameter of 57 millimeters, so the radius is half of it, then you know, not perfectly in a mathematic way, but approximately, yes. So you aim straight without spin, and then you go parallel one tip size, which means the left side of my Q-tip, okay, the left side of my Q-tip is in the center. So I'm one tip size on the right. And of course, and then you shoot just straight into it, into the rail, and one tip size should be okay to give you one diamond over there, okay? And if it's not working perfectly, you just repeat. It's still a little bit of estimation, your stroke and everything, right? But after a while, you can, after a while practicing it, you can benefit from it a lot. Not only in kick situations, out of a safety, but also in other cases. We will come back for that. The importance is big if we deal with any kind of position. Let's take a look at this. So 2 ball would be 1 tip size, 2 tip sizes. So it's a little bit more. They overlap a little, but 2 tip sizes. You see, it was not 2 tip sizes, it was 1.7 tip sizes. So it's hard to measure sometimes, but 0, 1, 2, I need a little bit more, and then you see I can get 2 tip sizes to get that 2 ball accurate. And then, on good days, I get it on the first try. And then the third one, if you make the mess, it's not good, right? The cue ball is too small, actually. With the third tip size, you're going to miss cue anyway. So the third is not mandatory to get it, but you can give it a try, and I will call it always, you can try to cheat as much as you can. So you can put a little curve on it, go a little bit like this, go on the absolute border, but try to stay on this diamond, to hit it on that diamond. And then 3 diamonds is pretty much maximum. Depends also on the cloth, older cloth, newer cloth, right? The cleanness of the balls, right? If they are dirty, it gives you even more effect, right? So it's not mandatory, but give it a try. It's usually the maximum, okay? And then, if you go for the long way, let's change that. After you practice it on the left, of course, the same thing. You can also move around over here, and then put the cue ball somewhere on that diamond line. And then, let's get them out of the way. And then, let's say there's a ball in the way, right? That's why we are forced to hit not the income angle, outcome angle, but straight into it. Then we can do the same thing. But you see, it's 2 diamonds, but it's double table lengths. So that's why we have a tip size that works on half table length. So 1 tip size would go this direction, and if you make it longer, then it will be over there. So 2 tip sizes would be the 12 ball actually, right? So for the 3 ball to get straight into the rail with just 1 tip size. Good enough approximately to get that ball. And the 2 tip sizes would be close to the 12. 1, 2. Was a little bit too much. See, 2.4 tip sizes accidentally, but usually your opponent gives you a second try, don't they? Anyhow, let's have a look now on 30 degrees, how we can make use out of it, not only in kick shots, but also in just everyday cases on the table. Very powerful reference. Now we are back here to our 30-degree shot. Remember that? Here's a straight line, and if you make the angle here towards this ball, you got a 30-degree shot, and we got this version for beginners to practice, here for intermediate, and here again for the experts. But to put a lot of spin on this ball makes not much sense, right? But even in some emergencies, to be able to shoot it from there, you need to start over there. But let's come back to our what we had just here with the tip sizes. First, we need to see where does the cue ball goes naturally. So just let it roll. And you see, hitting the rail over there and coming down maybe here by one diamond. Okay, that's where it goes naturally. And if you put it there, back on the same position, of course, if we put a ghost ball in front of it, then you see we're going to hit the rail over there, income angle, outcome angle, very big danger to scratch if you use a stop shot on that one, right? Let's try that. See? So you shouldn't do a stop shot there. And put it back, same position. And now we know the stop shot differentiation with backslide on 30 degrees, if you remember our old tutorial, is not that powerful anymore, but on 30 degrees it's still there, so with a backslide you can make sure to land over there, just to pass the side pocket. With the replacement, you can still pass not pass, but you can still get it close to the side pocket on that side. With a follow stun, you might be in this area. Naturally here, follow stun, back replacement, backslide. And now the draw. The draw must be somewhere here, right? But if you have a situation where you want to come down for any position over here, usually you don't use not only draw, because it has not much effect if the angle gets wider. And then you use a little bit more spin, in this case low right. Okay, and then you can make, if here's the backslide, if here's maybe the only draw, then maybe draw plus 1 tip size of right side spin, plus 2 tip sizes, plus 3 tip sizes. So this area might be the maximum if you play maximum low right. And on the other side, natural follow plus 1 tip size, plus 2 tip size, 3 tip size is well into that rail. So now you can make a differentiation on this shot, for example, from here to there, right? And of course, when you practice that, you try that's like 11 different shots, right? You try to practice that on both sides to control your consistency. And let's start, I showed the stop shot, I showed the natural one. Let's go for the 3 tip sizes high left, okay? And let's try to get the short rail from there. A lot, okay? And this happens, those tip sizes can be very useful also if you want to go, naturally here, but you want to come closer here, but not in danger to scratch. So you put only 1 tip size on it. And you get here exactly, right? So this gives you a very nice reference. And not only to shoot somewhere down there, but exactly here, 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 or there. And we already had in the other tutorials, I showed you ways how to practice it. And now here an example how you can make use out of it. You don't need to go, when you go down here, it's not somewhere down there. It can be, maybe low 1 tip size over there. Right? And maybe try the maximum as well. Might be close to that pocket. Let's give it a try. You see, direction here. But in order to give a lot of side spin, you don't like to use a lot of power. Maybe with a little practice, you can still get here. Depends on your personal stroke, cue, and everything, and equipment, of course. But pretty good example, right? Stop, backslide, 1 tip size, 2 tip sizes, 3 tip sizes. So I hope you see what kind of power those references can give you. And once you learn it in some situation, you can easily, with a little practice, transfer it to other situations. I hope you like that, but let's wait for the next scene for a few final words. And just, I'd like to add, of course, if they are like this, like in our example, and the cue ball hits nearly straight, goes nearly straight into the rail, of course, then it's very helpful, very powerful with these tip sizes. So in generally, you can say, the thinner the ball gets, the more powerful the spin comes. And the more you can benefit from the references once you learn it, to make the difference by feeling, making the difference between 1, 2, and 3 tip sizes, right? And the more flat an angle is, no matter this or this angle, if it's very flat, then of course, then the more powerful is the ability of making the differentiation between along the tangent line with the backslide, follow, stun, and replacement, this and that, right? So the stun shot is very powerful. And the thinner it is, the more clear it is also that you're gonna hit soon some rail after making the ball, and then the spin is getting more important. So I hope you like it that way. Keep in mind, I do this usually on my Sunday afternoon, so I don't like repeatings. Normally it's just one take when we do those things, except for technical reasons maybe. And so, yeah, I hope you still enjoy it, even though maybe some other ones put some graphics in it or this or that, but I guess this information, especially with those references, you won't see anywhere else. And yeah, looking forward to welcome you back for the next tutorial. Please comment if you got questions, this or that, some hints, critics, or positive comments. That's my favorite ones, by the way. Then I will also check on a regular basis and answer also your questions. And yeah, see you soon for the next one. This was Ralph Eckert for Billiard Network.